I got more rejections in the first 6 months of this year than in my entire life from people that I know.
Customer acquisition on e-commerce is very, very different and difficult. How do you manage that?
In this kind of business, you need to scale very fast because e-commerce will make you money, but not the level of money that you can make if you have offline. To be honest with you, in this region, we are talking more than $50 billion business.
Is the way senior people deal with rising stars, is it the same here as in other parts of the world?
Yeah, from my experience is different. And my take is, please give the chance to startups to express themselves.
But how do you see the corporate world in this part of the world relative to other parts of the world?
Look,
what stops leaders from actually aligning the culture with what the people want, in your opinion? Is it ego-driven?
Sometimes.
Why is that?
I believe in the server concept across organizations. When someone is there to serve a team and to serve a company, things will go well. When this doesn't happen, can go either way. But I can tell you, I cannot say much because this is fresh news. I think this region will be on beauty cosmetics is a house of a beauty, is our own platform, our own brand. We set up the company in January this year. Then we start trading end of 27 May.
So in 5 months, you were able to go to market?
In a bit more because we start working this last year.
Last year, okay.
But
you started generating revenue?
We started generating revenue at the end of May. May. That means we invested 10 months.
Yeah, that's about right.
To prepare, to set up everything, negotiations, start designing the team, the company, because when we start, we have already a strategy, a plan, a budget. You need to know, or at least to have a target where you want to go.
You have a roadmap exactly. How, and to track against the metrics.
And in this one, what we did, we went, we defined the strategy. Within the strategy, we had a target that was to have an affordable brand, and we found it in Europe. Very nice, very good quality, but very, very good quality and very affordable. That means can compete with everyone. And the name is quite interesting, is Doctor Clinic. That means is something that relates with people and that has some power in terms of marketing, and we have been testing that and we see that happening. And then was the name of platform, what should we call it? Internal brainstorms and so on. House of Hair Beauty. Hebe is the goddess of the beauty.
Hebe?
Hebe.
How do you spell it?
Hebe. H-E-B-E.
Hebe. Okay.
Hebe.
House of Hebe Beauty.
No, we call it House of Hair Beauty.
Hair Beauty. Okay.
We connect the beauty.
Nice.
And again, we start trading in the end of 27 of May. We have been fine-tuning the platform because we want to make the big launch at the end of August. But we want to be ready with everything. It's the last mile, it's fulfillment centers, it's the team that
Is it digital first or is it brick and mortar first?
Is it digital first?
So you have an e-commerce platform.
Correct.
Okay.
And then we start listing few weeks ago on Amazon, then Noon. Now we are expanding in the markets in Saudi. We just recruited a very senior person that is taking also all e-commerce for us, and we'll prepare the setup for India for next year. We are already preparing the setup in Egypt with our lawyers.
Immediately going international.
Yeah, that is the plan. That means in this kind of business, you need to scale very fast because e-commerce will make you money.
Yeah,
but not the level of money that you can make if you have offline. Offline capitalize a lot the e-commerce. That means it's proven. It's proven with many dozens of examples, probably more than that. That when you go offline, your sales online boost. They grow a lot. That means you create more awareness about your brand. You put people testing your brand. It's trust as well. And we have been blessed with closing some nice deals. with relevant offline platforms and online platforms as well. We will be announced it very, very soon. I think in the coming 2 weeks, all comes public.
So, when I look at any business that has brick and mortar and e-commerce, brick and mortar, simple. Check the, let's say, geography, the physical space. Wherever there's a heavy footfall, let's say we're in Dubai here, Dubai Mall, Jumeirah, this and that, fine. You set up space, and then cost of customer acquisition will be relevant to the location itself, because
Correct.
You can have branding, you can have some sort of flyers, whatever it is that you have to do. Even if you have a social media, you can represent your social media based on the physical location, whether it's restaurants, shops, everything else. E-commerce is not the same. The cost of customer acquisition on e-commerce is extremely, in my view at least,
it is.
It's very, very different and difficult. How do you manage that strategically?
Look, we have a good relationship with our media agencies. We have clear targets about what we want to do and what we want to get. We have been investing a lot. Example, we activate ads like everyone does. We activate influencers. I think the number I got yesterday from the team, we already activated more than 45 influencers in 1 month. That means, and the plan is to probably get double till the end of August, and is where we go. That means if you go today on social media, you see our brand a bit everywhere. Is going, is moving, and this is part of the plan. Is building awareness, building a brand identity, making sure that the quality is there, the people is satisfied, that we deliver on time at fair price. That is about all of that, and engaging more and more our audience that is growing.
So that's very, very interesting, because you mentioned the digital ads, the performance ads, you mentioned the influencers. I had countless horror stories of people kind of spending, a crazy amount of money on these things, and it's all money down the drain. So I know that you have your own marketing team and marketing agents and and everything that are experts there. But you, as, let's say, someone who's sitting at the top, managing all of these business elements or moving parts within the business, how do you know that the spending? Because if you say 45 influencers in 1 month, I'm assuming this is crazy money.
It is.
So how do you? I mean, it's not about how much you spend. There's no high or low, as long as the return is in the multiples, let's say 5, 10, 20x. How do you measure that?
Look, no one knows us, right? We are new in the market. First of all, we want to be known. That means or you do that, or you need to spend in advertising everywhere. And the cost of advertising, how much cost. That means we took some decisions, about which kind of media to use, which kind of impact we want to get, etc. For us, in this phase, is not about selling.
So you're testing.
We are testing, consolidating our image, making sure everyone knows about us, and also, linking with our partners, because what we are at the end is we are a house of brands.
Yes.
And we want people to know why they should buy our brands. It's about storytelling. What we are saying today, if you go on our social media, you understand, because we start telling about the brands. Where is the USP of the brands? Of course, when you have an affordable brand, the USP is quality balance with price, right?
Yes.
But the other ones, they have a real USP, scientific papers, with publications about these products, medical tests, etc., etc. That means there is a next phase that will be involving with some doctors in town to validate all of this. That means we want them to test and to confirm that what we are saying. And we don't want to do this in a fake way. We want to do this with the real paperwork, transparency.
Yes.
And then is about, making sure that each one of the brands we represent in exclusivity in this region makes sense for people. It's something that you need. Any of us may need. It's not just bringing a brand. You have dozens of brands that we know that impact is minimal, but people buys, right? Is what it is. But because the impact on you is different of the impact on me. If our skin is different, then you have different impacts. And sometimes we tend to say, no, this is not, useful, is not good for me. No, maybe it's not for you, but it's for someone else. What we are trying to build and to introduce to the market is something different. Is we want to make sure that the products that we are bringing with the right USP, they have real impact. I use them.
Okay, so it starts with you and your family using them.
Family, our employees, our friends.
Right.
We bring it and we test, and we see impacts. And then sometimes, you see some of the brands we are bringing, you see that equivalent products cost you in very well-known brands probably $1,000 plus. And in our platform, when we launch these brands around August, September, they will cost you about $200 maximum.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And this is the thing, is our level of margins is comfortable, but
you're offering comparable quality.
Correct.
But at this lower prices. But okay, so you mentioned the which is the concept of product market fit, right? You said that there's a problem, people need it, maybe it's out of reach because of its cost, and then you're offering this. What did you do initially as part of your strategic planning? Because as you said, still to be seen whether this once you launch. But what did you do, and how did you do the market research or the problem finding to validate the market pull at a strategic level?
We read a lot.
Okay.
We get lots of data. We have been reading data from 23, 24, some from 25, from the Beauty of World and from McKinsey, from Bain, from many publishers, and this is where we learn. We learn about the potential of the region. We learn about the potential of each country. We learn about the potential of each segment, each category. We know where this is, and then we deep dive on that, and we talk with lots of people. We learn from them. Where is the potential? Example: yesterday I was talking with someone very senior in one country in the region, and we are talking about the best categories in that country, and
for your line of business.
Exactly, and because we are discussing about a partnership.
Yes,
and their company is a big company, and they are mainly focused on fragrances.
Okay.
And he was telling me something like, "Look, I'm not sure skincare will be okay for us." Because we don't have it. We have just a brand with a couple of stores with that does very well, by the way, but we don't have skincare. I said, look, that is your opportunity. And I start telling him about the potential of market. We're talking about, in this region, we are talking more than probably $50 billion business. That means it's
huge.
It's quite serious, in terms of potential.
You're talking about worldwide or just the region?
No, here, the region.
And the region is like Middle East?
Middle East.
That's huge.
It's big. It's big. It's published. All of this is public, this data.
Okay.
And we see that. And we see the opportunity then within certain segments. We are not on perfumes, fragrances. We are not on that part because we decide to focus on skincare, anti-aging, sun care. Then we move it a bit also on babies because it's something that is missing. Then we move it recently on the body care, the deodorants and so on, and the hair care, the shampoos, the air conditioners, etc. Because they have different targets in terms of audience.
And you mapped the market accordingly. Correct. And you have mapped all the product categories to those market needs.
Yeah, we know where we want to go. And with some of these categories, we go first brick, then e-commerce. Some others, we go first e-commerce, then brick. because we know the potential in both channels.
And all of this is part of your own studies from the papers, from
Correct.
the magazines, from the journals that talks about this for the past, let's say, 3-4 years.
Correct.
So based on that, you did how long did it take you to do all of this research until you're clear, at least to a certain degree?
But not very long. The decision go no go on beauty took us about 3 months or so.
Okay.
Of conversations in the family. How do we see it? We saw the gap, we saw the potential, we saw the market size. If you take a small piece of that, you'll be fine. You'll be competitive, and this is why we decided to step in.
So this is one line of business that you have, right?
Correct.
What other lines of businesses that you have?
We have Atelier Digital AI. Atelier Digital AI is a company incorporated in the IFC Innovation Hub, exactly in AI campus, which is quite difficult access, to be honest, and because they screen everything about you, about your solution. You need to prove the solution is AI driven and so on and so forth. And it's fantastic, by the way. I think is the right process to make sure you have,
especially with the new hypes of AI and blockchain, others.
Absolutely. It's difficult, but I think it's the right process.
It's necessary.
To be honest, I think the authorities, they do fantastic on that. We incorporate this company we have been working on this company for 1.5 years.
As a product.
Okay. But we incorporate the company at the end of May, on 29th of May.
This year,
precisely. We have been working before, but the company also took some time to set up.
So you've been developing the core product of the business, whether it's the technology, the business model, everything around the product itself, for 1.5 years, but without an incorporated license.
Without a license. That means we have been on the product development, testing phase, etc. We have partners. Our main partner is from Germany. And is investor in this country since for 25 years, by the way. He's also resident here. He has been investing in tech outside of the region, and here is mainly on trading and logistics. He has a financial background and interest in Europe, but we did this partnership with him where we lead this business.
And where's your developers mainly? Is it here in UAE?
No, we not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
That means our developers are spread, to be honest.
Right.
We have people in Georgia, we have people in Russia, we have people in Thailand. Our CMO, she's sitting in Paris. We have people spread. We have been working with all these people, and now we are building the team here because we set up the company, and now many of these people will come in. But today we work, remotely with many of our colleagues.
But how do you? This is one of the things that I always get from people who are trying to start companies. Obviously there are unfair advantages to others. Let's say you have an unfair advantage of being a senior person who has lots of experience and network and people and obviously trust and personal brand, that people are willing to work with you without signing a contract or without an LLC and so on and so forth. So generally speaking, if we take that specific, and I want to just dig deep on that, people find it difficult to start businesses because it takes a long time to be anywhere near an MVP or a revenue. And therefore you have to have all of those people that you mentioned now, the developers, the CMOs, the marketing, the strategy, the operations, all of that. The incorporation of a business is not simple, especially the legal, the costs, the licenses, and everything else. So the thought of what you just mentioned is a dream for many people. Like, okay, let me just work on, I'm not going to change hand with anyone. I'm not going to sell customers. I'm just going to develop my own thing. But to be able to do that, sometimes you need to have a license.
Correct.
What's your thought on that?
Look, if you know where you go, you can start working without having a license, because you are not selling, you are not trading, you are preparing yourself. That means you are at cost. And if it doesn't work, you have the cost of that, right? That means when we saw that our solution worked, we decided to
incorporate.
Okay, and we did 2 big POCs in Russia because we knew that no one was going there because of the restrictions and was a bit more difficult to be copied. You know that today in this world everyone copies some stuff, and we want to do it calmly without stress, and we did a POC in the biggest luxury department store in Moscow, and then we did it one of biggest affordable fashion in companies in the country, and the results are fantastic. That means when we saw the results in terms of conversion, attractiveness, etc., we decided to go.
We decided to incorporate.
We decided to incorporate, and now we are in the process of hiring. We're hiring wholesale functions, legal functions, administrative functions, finance functions, etc., etc. That means now is full power. But even without that, to be honest, we incorporate the company on 29 of May. We start pitching on 2nd of June, Monday.
Okay.
And till date, so far, we did more than 20 pitch.
With investors?
With investors. Not investors, with potential clients.
Okay, contracts, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Because we are after...
So it's a business development activity
correct.
With clients, okay.
That means it's commercial part of this business. That means you have a solution, it's proven that works, you know that is disruptive, no one has it in the world.
But you're able to do that because it's part of your network?
No,
or do you have a business development activities to acquire clients?
We do that. I do that.
Okay.
I live in both verticals, the business development. Okay. Is the only thing I do, if I can say, is supporting the team, mentoring the team, and financing as well,
of course, yeah.
and business development. And in the beauty, also I'm involved in the brand acquisition.
Okay.
But
the upstream.
I do the business development. Now we have someone in the beauty. We have someone that is leading the e-commerce. That means I'll lead business development, just relate with the bricks, the offline. Okay. And in this, I'm leading the business development because, I know the people. I've been working with the many of these companies for long years. There is respect from both sides. But to be honest with you, okay, when we are in big corporations like MAF, MAR, and many others, people look at us differently. Okay, and many people, when they work in these corporations, they believe that this is forever. And it's not. And when you come in a different setup, a different world, you forget that sometimes your life will be much more difficult than before. I got more rejections, okay, in the first 6 months of this year than in my entire life. From people that I know. And why is that? Again, because when you go in big corporations, usually you get along well. They are very professional people. They listen you because if you bring a solution or if you bring a product, they know you, they respect you, and they listen you. Then it's yes or no. But some of them, they don't even get at this stage because they believe now this gentleman is not anymore in a big corporation, is not backed by the big business and so on and so forth. I don't give my time to these people. And this happened. And this is very important that many seniors in this region and everywhere in the world, they forget that one day they will change their lives. They will be not in big corporations to back them anymore. And, I believe they should sometimes, some people, reflect about the attitude when they are, somehow representing these corporations with startups and with the people that they know. I have no complaints. I think people is fantastic, but this is reality because when we are, in big companies, everything is smooth, easy, fast, and so on. When you come on the non-corporate world, some people forget that one day they will be there probably. And there is memory in the market. People knows who gets along. People knows who is difficult to get in, etc., etc. And to be honest, I'm very pleased. We got in our pitch the biggest companies in this region, some of the biggest companies in the world. From I can say publicly, from Inditex to Mango to LVMH brands to Kering brands to Landmark to apparel, etc., etc., etc. Fantastic corporations with fantastic professionals, and this is pleasing. Then when you have the chance as a startup to introduce your product or introduce your solutions to such a level of professionals. It's rewarding.
Yes.
Even at the end, if you get a no, it doesn't matter. At least you had the chance to show what you are working on. And this is relevant for startups. And my take is, please give the chance to startups to express themselves.
So this is, Vitor, you've touched on a very important point that I hear from startups every day. You're a senior person. Obviously your personal brand is associated with quality, with trust, with experience, with wisdom. What if someone, and you're facing more rejections, like you said, and that's normal.
Normal.
But imagine if you're a 29, 30-year-old startup who didn't have that much experience in the corporate world or have much networks. What do they do?
Look, it's tough. There are ways of, if you have a right solution, the right business, you can get platforms like Endeavor that will help you to get there, with network. Endeavor is a fantastic platform. Examples, just,
yes.
There are
Endeavor,
other examples.
Yes. So you try to use platforms that facilitate that type of connection.
Correct, but I didn't, to be honest, we didn't, because you need to be part of the network. Okay, I'm part of Endeavor, but I'm not, as company, I'm not part yet, at least, of Endeavor.
Because you didn't have to, right?
Because you need to be invited.
Right.
Okay.
That's an official Endeavor. Listen.
No. We had a nice meeting yesterday, by the way.
Right. Okay.
No, we have, things should go smooth and natural, in my opinion, on this. But you need to prove yourself as solution, as product, as company, and so on and so forth. Endeavor is a big corporation and very respectable. That means they won't incorporate something that they know may fail strongly. That's why you need to give time. But for the advice for the young generation when they come with startups is, first of all, be smart how you build your business. Be smart how you build your board. I serve many boards, as I have very many seniors serving our boards as well. I have people with experience in retail at C-level for 30 years. We have people that today they still in charge of big corporations at C-level. Many of them CEO level. And this is the way, these people is there to advise you, to also help you when you need. When we raise the hand and say, we are not getting along with this, who can help, and these people is there. That means you need to have the right board, the right advisory board with the right level of seniority. That will cost you money. Yeah, it's normal. But comparing with the potential that you bring in the business, it's peanuts at the end.
So you use platforms such as Endeavor and others. So you try to look for those platforms that do connect you with the right decision makers from the client side, but also try to look for board of advisors that are relevant to you, that are relevant to your industry, that are relevant to your clients, and onboard them onto your product or onto your business. So they are also able to facilitate your connections with your potential clients. And
you have always, when you are young, the young generation, and I can say because I have a son, 31 years old, that is CEO of all these companies, by the way, and he's doing a fantastic job. But the new generation, they always believe they know everything about business. They are bold enough. They are very aggressive in terms of business. They want to win the world, which is fantastic. But sometimes, I'm used to say they don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. And one advice is bring on board some mentors. An example, my son, he has two fantastic mentors. Always two
Other than you.
other than me, because he needs to have the experience with other people.
Right.
Because our family relationship sometimes doesn't allow me to reach what I need, where I need to reach, which is normal.
Yes.
But the other people, the one is CEO of a big company, also was startup probably 6 years ago, and today is multi-million company in this region. The other one is a multi-million company also in worldwide. They are a bit everywhere, and the big expansion also in Asia, etc. And these are two of the mentors that are working with him. I'm mentoring many other people like him outside, in other organizations, in other business. And the idea is to make them better human beings, but better managers as well. And keeping them not to focus just on the P&L, but mainly on the business and the people.
So here's a thought, Vitor, and I know this because the biggest thing, everything we mentioned now is all about trying to get someone's time, whether
Right.
it's a client, whether it's a mentor, whether it's an advisor, whether it's a company such as Endeavor. It's all about fighting for time. And the more experienced you are and the more high status you are in society, the more people want to steal your time. And I use the word steal because I heard it
Correct.
from people such as you and others who are senior, who are advisors, who are at the top of their industries. Everybody wants to steal. Like, I'm considered at this point in time a nobody compared in the grand scheme of things. And every day I receive at least 20 to 30 LinkedIn messages. So I can only imagine someone like you or others, how many messages you get with people either want to sell your stuff, either want to get advice from you, either want to get your mentorship, they want you on your board. Now, two things here. First, I don't blame those people who reject because you're not part of a big organizations, because guess what? They get 20, 30, maybe 100 a day. But at the same time, someone who is genuine at the startup level, who actually put all the work, they're being dwarfed, they're being canceled by all of the other noise.
Right.
And they go to Endeavor, obviously it's by invitation only, and the likes of them, they're also noise. They go to mentors, so it's like there's this big divide between really well-intentioned people at the senior level, whether it's client or advisors, and we really hardworking, intentioned, sincere people at the startup level. And this divide is getting, in my opinion, even bigger and bigger because of the ability of AI now. I mean, you can set up your own AI to actually reach out to thousands of people every day with personalized messages.
Right.
That I myself doubt everyone who comes to me is like, is it you or is it an AI who wrote this? Because it's too, you know me so well. So there's no way you spent all that time researching my profile. I'm sure you had some AI that scraped my profile online. So what's your thought on that?
Look, it's exactly as you said. Look, we all get lots of notes, emails, messages on a daily basis. By the way, I make sure that I reply all of them.
Wow. That's why you work 18 hours a day.
I make sure I reply all of them. And when I don't see the point, I politely decline and say, look, we already have this covered, and thank you very much. Some that we have covered, but I believe that could be better. I say, look, thank you very much. This is not the moment now. Let's talk in October, November, December. And some related with mentoring, I try to understand what they need, which is the motivation. As the same way that I get invitation for boards and advisory boards and so on, I always try to understand what they look for, which will be at the end their aspiration from this interaction, what they expect from me, why me at the very end. When I see the reasons behind and I relate with that, I take a go. I do it. And by the way, when I mentor, I place mentorship sessions in my calendar for months.
Oh, wow.
To make sure I'm committed with that person, with that entity. I do that. Because this is the minimum. If we want to respect these people and we really want to give back, we need to plan it with them. We have our lives. We know that sometimes we need to move some of these meetings, but usually I try to not move anything. I will try to skip and to comply with the
Even if you have
date.
to do it, let's say a month ahead, but at least you
I
know.
do it. I do it. I can do it at 8 a.m. as can do it at 8 p.m. I do it. That means, I think this is for senior people. This is the minimum we can do for the people that we engage with.
So let me comment on that, Vitor. So the way you're talking and the way you're obviously explaining the way you manage your time and how you feel like it sounds like you feel you're obliged to give back. It's so beautiful.
I feel I'm obliged to give back because I was blessed. I had opportunities in my life that is a bless, you know.
So that's my question to you. Why can't other senior people feel? Because if you can do it, everybody else can do it. Why? I mean, I'm trying to be as candid and as transparent as possible. And I don't know about other regions in the world. And I want your feedback because obviously you have more visibility over other regions in the world. Is the way senior people deal with, let's say, still rising stars, is it the same here as in other parts of the world?
Look, in my opinion, from my experience, is different. In US, you monetize that.
As a senior person.
As a senior, you go on platforms, you sell your 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, you sell, and you cash $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, and so on and so forth. Is more, doesn't mean that there is, of course, lots of people that does it pro bono, but the trend I'm witnessing is more on, big sharks is you need to pay. This is one. In Europe, I think the people got, and I'm European, got too much comfort in their life that they don't give back at the same level as we do here. Okay?
So it's worse in Europe.
It is worse in Europe, from my experience. Okay, you have less and less, but there is people doing it. That doesn't mean that is so enlarged in terms of platform as it is here. Here, I think there is more people doing that. And I think people, because of the positions they got along their life and the access they have to other corporations, to certain positions, because when we are in a position, this is not ours. And sometimes we forget that.
Yeah.
This is a blessing, is a trust from shareholders of that company that we hold for 1, 2, 3, 10 years, whatever is the time. That means when we have this chance and we take advantage of that, because without that you were not exposed so much and so on and so forth. I feel my obligation is to give back.
To use that platform.
Because that platform, tomorrow we pass away. Okay, where is the point? We need to, the same way that we had other people doing this with us, with other people, we should, in my opinion, we should do the same. And I do this, happily, to be honest. I like that because I engage with lots of different people, different business, complete different profiles with different expectations, different preparedness, by the way, in many of these setups. And it is good to try to guide these people and to advise. But I keep always very clear. I'm advising. I'm bringing my experience. I'm not deciding. And I want this very clear with everyone. I'm not the decision maker. I'm here to support you, to advise you. Then it's up to you to think what you should do, which should be your best decision. And is the process.
It is how it is. And I think to your point, some people try to outsource their own decisions to their advisors.
Correct.
Just to kind of eliminate that guilt factor of why things didn't work the way they worked. But here's the thought, Vitor. I just saw a report the other day of the top 10 cities in the world that has the most capital flowing to, I don't know if have you seen it? It's like the most capital flowing into startups and the VC ecosystem. None of the cities in this part of the world made it there, although there's no shortage of capital here. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. Well, look, I had this discussion last week with our partners in Atelier Digital AI. We were exactly looking at that, and because we are planning about future and so on and so forth. And there was one of our partner that is brilliant for me. It's a brilliant mind that was saying, Vitor, but we need to make sure we are in the right region. Because, to VC, to any kind of investment, you see how it works in the US. That is easy, fast, and you get big investments.
Big returns as well.
Yeah. In Asia is somehow is doing, some of the big towns is doing exactly the same. Few in Europe, but still. And here in the region doesn't make top 10, even probably not the top 15. And that is the question mark. Why is that?
Yes.
Is the way we are organized here is not lack of money.
No,
it's not lack of money.
No. And there's no shortage of capital at all.
Absolutely. And then we have fantastic funds here in the region, sovereign funds, investing left, right, and center. But I am not sure this is seen as well. I'm not sure. Today we see the many of the agreements that, example, Americans did with the UAE and the Saudi and Qatar and so on and so forth
at a state level,
and came in the news, and this is nice, it's good, because will place us in terms of market well. But at the company level, you see many of the investments are with family offices, and there are some specificities on this kind of relationships as well, in terms of demand, etc. There are fantastic startups out there.
Yes.
And
there's no shortage of talent, Vitor. There's no shortage of ideas. I mean, I have at least in my own circle 2 founders who actually moved away from here to the States because of this problem. Yeah. Just recently in the past 2 years.
I get you. Look, is something that we need to fix. But I can tell you, I cannot say much because this is fresh news. But I think this region will be globally exposed very soon, and mainly UAE.
But it's not. I think this is my anecdote, and I need your thoughts on that. It's not about money flowing in from outside. So whether we're exposed or not, it's not about that billionaire who's sitting in Cannes or sitting in China who wants to. It's not a foreign investment thing. It's a local, because there's no shortage of local investors who are. I mean, the other day I just did. I mean, obviously we keep track of all the VCs in the region just to kind of make sure that we're able to approach them. In Dubai alone, there are more than 650 or 700 in Dubai. 700 VC companies registered in Dubai. That's according to LinkedIn. Obviously, I haven't validated that with the authorities. But the point is, we have that much investors here. In Saudi, is growing by the minute, and it's over 200 now. So there's no shortage of even VCs as companies who manage capital for LPs. So the function is there, the startups are there, the ideas are there, the capital is there. But then something is not right. It's like, what are these VC companies doing?
Look, I don't have an answer. My thoughts are related with the trust many times and the focus, because you have lots of VCs here that are investing outside.
That's absolutely true. Yeah,
you see lots of capital here, sitting here, that is investing abroad at all levels. And I believe that will be nice in the future to see some of this capital being allocated locally, because the potential of many of these startups is not less than the ones in the US or the ones in Asia or in Europe or whatever. I think it's a question of trust. We believe, it's just my opinion. Sometimes I believe people believes that the capabilities in certain scopes are better abroad.
That's not true.
No, it's not true. Absolutely not true.
We
lack enough people with capabilities. Okay, we have fantastic people, very capable, but we need more.
Yes.
We need to bring
Yeah.
more capability, because this will foster this level of startups, the quality of the companies, sophistication of business, etc., etc. But we have very capable people here, from everywhere.
So,
but they are not showing that.
exactly. And the math doesn't add up, Vitor. I'll tell you one story. I mean, this is just in the past 6 months, many statistics popped up. Highest high net worth individual magnet in the world, Dubai. Highest talent magnet in the world, Dubai, according to
Correct.
independent statistics, right? There's no shortage of capital. Obviously, there's capital here from all over the place, whether it's sovereign funds, whether it's family offices, whether it's corporates, local corporates, international. So, and there's no shortage of startups popping up. I mean, just in the UAE in the past, I think 6 months, 7 months, there are more than 5,600 startups registered. That's just outside of the people who are working on their own, trying to do things like you did without registering in a license. So when you add up all of these, and then we don't pop up on the top 10 cities that invest in startups from capital flow perspective, and the number one is San Francisco, I think, and then you have other cities in the United States, Europe, and Asia. Where is this money flowing if it's not flowing here? And the other thing is, if you correlate that with unicorns, which are the outliers, obviously, they're not the rule, it's also, there's a strong correlation. Also, if you correlate that with the innovation, the Global Innovation Index, also we're very lacking behind. So let's say the top city that is at the top of innovation from this region is Dubai, and we're tracking at 35. Not even top 10, 20, 30, 35. So if you add all of that, we don't have capital flowing, but we have talent coming in. We have high net worth individuals coming in. We don't have shortage of capital here. We have obviously government policies. So it's not government, it's not stability, it's not trust in the authorities. The authorities and the government trust is absolutely insane. So also, if you look at the independent statistics on people trust with the government, here is number one.
Very true.
You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, absolutely.
So something is not adding up.
Look, I had a conversation yesterday about that, to be honest, with someone very well placed within startups ecosystem. One of the things that we agreed in our conversation was that there are many startups, but how many of them have the right preparation and right funders? Because I don't have the data, and I'm curious about, to be honest, from all startups that started, how many remained active after 1 year, and how many went successful? I don't know the data, because this is also was part of our conversations. Is because, as you said, unicorns. How many unicorns we have? You have Tavi now with Hossam. You have Kitop with Mohammed. You have now Nice One in Saudi, that is an e-commerce platform, and very few.
Yes.
You have very few.
In a massive region, yeah.
And with huge investments and so on. That means I think there is big potential, but I think also the local funds need to not just looking abroad, but also looking what they have in the country and in the region. Example, within Atelier Digital, we have a fantastic solution within the scope of health, proven with license already in one country, and it's in shelf. Because we want to launch this differently. I've been talking with people here about that is within this sector, trying to understand where the sector is going. I'm reading lots of documentation about the future of health, and it's fantastic, the potential. But I'm not yet absolutely convinced this is the right place to launch it.
Here.
Right. And you have fantastic funds in Abu Dhabi, etc., that are looking for these kind of solutions. But I see many of these investments abroad. I'd like to see these investments, if you're abroad, they bring the solutions here. Example, one of the things I would like to see more is if I'm investing, if I'm a sovereign fund, doesn't matter in which country, I'm investing in a solution in US, I will put pressure that solution to move here in my country. Or at least to have a presence.
There is an ICV, right? The in-country value.
Correct.
Yeah, which is usually this, but I don't know how effective is that, and if there are any public data on it. But I mean, the other day I just even remember the investments that went to the US for data centers, and it was like 10 billion or something. And there are in my own sphere of friends, I have at least few friends who have startup in the data center and in the infrastructure. So imagine if that investment is done here, how it would move that sector and that.
Absolutely.
Which is different. But you mentioned something very interesting, Vitor, which is I'm paraphrasing here, the maturity of the founders. How much the founders are able to understand the language of the investors, so they give them confidence.
Correct.
But also there's the investors' maturity to educate, because they're not on the same level. I mean, let's be very real here. The startups are the young kids, and the investors are the senior adults. I feel that there is a gap. There is a gap, and this gap is not filled. And those people obviously don't have the resources to hire someone like you and me, for example, to help them dress up the business. Absolutely. Because they're kids, metaphorically speaking,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
And those people are not willing to speak to these people unless they have to come here. So, and this gap is becoming wider and wider because these people have resources. They invest in other asset classes. Simple, easy. So they're getting richer. They're getting what the returns that they want. So it's fine. They're not missing out much. But then the region is missing out because those people don't have enough runway. Their oxygen tank is just depleting by the minute. And if you add up the original problem that we talked about, which is the very expensive licensing fees, that's very unique to this region. The very difficult access, like you mentioned, to the senior people, to the clients, because you're a nobody at this stage. And people are not willing to give you trust in your product because you're not a Microsoft or an Oracle or a SAP, or a Louis Vuitton. You're just someone new. And you know what? I don't want to, because I need to protect my chair, because I need to protect my position, because so all of this plays into this gap. Don't you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's an ecosystem that is growing, but is not mature. No, still a lot to be done. Example, you go in big exhibition that we organize here, Beauty World.
Beauty World, yes.
You go GITEX, you go North Star, etc., etc. You see probably hundreds of local startups. Again, as I said before, I would like to see statistics. How many of them are successful after 1 year or alive after 3 or 5 years? That means, and if they fail, why they failed is a question of funders, is a question of capital, is a question of no fit with the market, because could be also because many people jumps in investments without looking the right fit for the market, and they don't study enough, they don't have the right feedbacks, they don't have right data, etc., etc. That means that all of this can happen. Example, look about what you were talking in terms of investment and all these levels. In Atelier Digital, we launch one solution. We have 5. Okay. The other 4, we are working on them. We are evolving, are progressing, and are part all for retail. All 100% for retail. And some are very disruptive. Completely disruptive, because what we look is for disruption, doing something that the market doesn't have and the market needs.
Innovation.
Exactly. Absolutely. And then our questions have been, depending on the results we get with the first solution, we'll be launching the others or not here. Because we could launch elsewhere. In US, I will make big money very fast. In Europe, it's easy to make money within the fashion tech, within the retail, even in Asia. That means the question is always, you get the right support, you have the right team, you have the right solution, is fitting in with the market, you have the capabilities that are needed. why you don't get, the support of the local authorities. When I'm saying local authorities, I'm not talking about government. I'm talking about the funds, the VCs,
the
etc.
corporates, yes, the CEOs,
because
yes.
This is IP made in UAE. This is UAE-based company with UAE-based solutions, with UAE residents, many of them, and the majority parties are residents here, and you should support your ecosystem, right?
Yes.
And I still not seeing that easy access for everyone, and that's why people probably start, as you said, with the people that I know other cases similar. People start wondering, is I will do it here, or I will move it away.
Yeah.
We love UAE. We want to stay here. We want to launch it here, but we are not yet in the market. But when we go in the market, will be the pitch for decision. It will be not decision about the solution. It will be decision about what we'll do in the future. That is market.
This is market, and the market is the biggest. I mean, it's the toughest judge, right? Because if you can think whatever you want to think, you can try and aspire whatever you want to aspire. But the thing is, when we talked about the maturity of the founders and the maturity of the investors, right? In your case, you were able to assess the products. You said you have 5, and you said, you know what, we could go with 5, but we want with 1 because the result from that 1 will feed into the decision for the rest of the 5. But that's because it's you, Vitor. You're a senior person who's experienced, who's able to give mentorship to these people who are the founders or the people who are working on the product. And you have enough exposure and obviously network to ask people and do your own, let's say, market research. It's for you, it's a phone call. For others, it might cost 10,000 dirhams because they have to do their own sort of commissioning of the research and the write-up and everything else. Most people don't have that. Now, the other, apart from the mentorship, apart from the platforms, apart from the advisory boards, you might go to incubators. You might go to accelerators, which you have here. You have, such as the N5 and others. The one complaint, I don't know how much experience you have with those from an information perspective.
I was in N5 yesterday.
You were. So here's the thing, and I want you
by coincidence.
I want your absolute, transparent, really raw opinion. Everybody, and I'm saying this not based on my personal experience. I'm just parroting what others are saying. They're real estate agents. What do you feel about this comment?
Look, I think it's not easy their role. I think they need to play a role that make everyone happy, and it's not possible. I tend to agree with your statement, but I think that if we put ourselves,
I'm not talking specifically about N5. I'm talking about the concept of incubators, accelerators in this region.
Look, there are many, as you know, even big corporations, they have some internal incubators, but then you don't see any successful outcome. You don't see it. And the question is, I believe incubators should probably be led by people with not administrative people, but people with the right experience on startup ecosystem, senior people that knows how to scale, knows how to place, how to develop, etc., etc.
And it should be led by successful entrepreneurs.
Of course.
Look at Y Combinator, right? So YC.
Correct.
YC, who they put there? It's Sam Altman.
You go in the board of Endeavor in UAE, and you just see celebrities from the corporate world, fantastic people.
No. So there's no, it's not a negative comment about the individuals, right?
Yeah.
It's the fit for purpose. Yeah. You have a heart surgeon, you don't ask him to do a neurosurgery. Correct. It's completely, both of them are completely.
For example, in the case of Endeavor, these celebrity people is fantastic. They open up business for the startups, they help the startups, they mentor the startups. They are giving back at very high level. And this is fantastic. But the problem is when you have other organizations where you don't have the chance to have this caliber.
Yeah.
They need to have these calibers. They need to have people that comes, with the right experience and the right attitude. Being in, sometime happens, being in some functions or being in some bodies and not supporting as should be, just giving the name to be there, is not what startup ecosystem needs. They need active people that real gives back, that engage in full, and help this ecosystem to evolve. And be it on corporate level, on the companies that have these incubators, be it on the iron fibers of this life. I think there is a lot of work to be done by everyone. I don't think the people is there has bad intentions or is not unprepared. No, they are well. I think sometimes I feel that there is a disconnect between the real world, startup real world, and these institutions.
Yes, 100%. And I hear it every day. And I think that disconnect is happening because now this is, again, my personal opinion. There's lack of discussions like this. Every time you hear, I long for discussions around this topic and this ecosystem. And the moment I click, it's either as if it's scripted, or people are worried to say the truth. Yeah. They're saying, oh no, it's the best thing in the world. It is. There's a reason why high net worth individuals are coming here. There's a reason why all of these talents are coming here, because it is the best part of the world. And to make it even better, you have to address the issues as they are. You can't just keep on sugarcoating and padding things because you're afraid to hurt X or Y or Z.
100%.
It doesn't work that way. And if we 100%. Don't, like I had a very dear friend of mine, Zohair. He's a founder of Jalebi. He said something. He said, Usama, one pain point that I feel as a founder, and he's a second or third founder. He had the multiple exits before. He's a brilliant guy. He said, Usama, one of the things that pains me is the exorbitant amount of money that I have to pay every year for just renewal of the license. And that's on top of the taxes, and that's on top of the VAT, and that's on top of all of the other fees that I have to pay. Now, I am blessed to be able to do it, that's his words, because he's a multi-founder and he has resources. What about the small guys who will only see revenue in, let's say, 2 or 3 years? Those people, like you said, and I'll after this, take a note of doing this research, how many of people are losing runway early on because of all of these fees? And not just these fees. You go to an incubator, you have to pay fees.
Correct.
Imagine that. Who pays fees to incubators? Imagine you're a baby. You want to be incubated to live, and you have to pay for that. You're a baby. Unless you have a father.
Exactly.
Unless you have daddy's money, that's a different story. But most people are just orphans, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's difficult. What's your thought about that?
No, it's difficult. I think what you said is absolutely right. It's difficult to match, what is needed and what is offered sometimes. I think it's difficult sometimes for the people to understand, that business as usual in startup world doesn't work.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that. Business as usual in startup world doesn't work.
Doesn't work. And doesn't work because, startup is expected to be disruptive, innovative, aggressive, etc., etc. If you come with the same attitude that you have in corporate world, or you come with the same approach that you have in, multi-billion companies, won't work. If you come without, a good plan, a good strategy, it won't work. This attitude sometimes from some funders, that from idea to execution, without strategy, planning, budgeting, team, etc., won't work.
With a proper financial,
could work, exceptionally could work, but usually it doesn't work.
But shouldn't be,
is not the pattern that wins more supporters, I would say.
Exactly. And that's where investors, I think, has to make sure that they understand that these founders don't know these parameters that you just mentioned. You and I know it because we were part of an ecosystem like corporate. So we had our CFO, we had our CMO, we had our COO, you had all of those people that by rubbing shoulders with them, we understood it because we're ahead in life. But those people who are mostly founders, who are probably like the age of your son in the early 30s, late 20s, they don't know these fundamentals. And it's incumbent on the investors to actually take them on and teach them and probably invest on these elements as well to be able to have them grow.
Absolutely.
Which is very important for the ecosystem. But I want to go back to you because you mentioned corporate a couple of times. I want to go back to your own corporate life. How do you see the corporate world? It doesn't have to be yours specifically, but how do you see the corporate world in this part of the world relative to other parts of the world?
Look, it's different. My experience is different. I have been exposed worldwide, globally. You have different cultures, like Asian, that they prefer very focused, results driven. They don't care about you. Is the perception. US, very corporate, like Europe, 9 to 6, and that's it. Here in the region, and mainly in Dubai, I see that there is, huge dedication from a corporate world to the companies. I see people put lots of energy within their jobs and within their companies. The question is if the energy that they put is the right one. And we forget that many of these corporations are family business.
True.
And when you have a corporation that is, family business, decision-making driven, you can face some challenge, because one thing is what you and the market is saying, another is what the other family wants to position the business. And in terms of investment, the family wants to follow a certain whatever direction, and the market sometimes says something slightly different. Is how this will match all of this, because we are in a region, and with all my respect for everyone, because I don't want to be misunderstood, where it's important to have trophies. What that means in some groups, you need to have some properties, or you need to have some business, like a trophy. It's not like, is that business?
It's not a business. It's
right?
Just performative. Okay.
That helps probably sometimes these families or these people to position themselves socially.
As branding.
Exactly. Which is respectable, by the way.
If it's strategically done as a branding activity.
Correct.
Right.
But it's not the business. At the end, in terms of,
you have to know that spending on marketing and branding is not the business. It has to lead to a business.
Exactly that. But is that, the corporate world here is...
is it ego-driven?
Sometimes. Sometimes. No, I would say that sometimes there are professionals that focus themselves on their own career instead of in what is what is the best for the company. Sometimes you see that, I see that, everyone sees that. And then look, it's respectable if the company believes that is the right way. For me, I have been all my life focused on the company best interest. And to be honest, I never really cared about my career. I cared about progressing, about evolving, and so on. But I never cared about me first and the company. It was always the opposite. For me, it was company, and then family. It was a mistake that I did for many years. My family came after my companies. That is completely wrong, in my opinion, today. But at that time, it was making sense because I was so focused on delivering and progressing and developing the companies and helping the team and growing the teams and so on, that you lose the focus on other things that are essential for you as well, like the family, your friends, and so on, your personal life,
your health, your other.
Exactly. Yeah. But there is other people that smarter than I that say that they come first, and then comes the company, or second comes the family, and then comes the company, which is respectable, but is not exactly how I see business.
Do you think the difference between, let's say, family offices specifically here, the difference between the family offices here and in other parts of the world is that the family business, let's say in Europe or in Asia or in anywhere else, 90% of the people who work in the family business are people from the region. So they feel the connection with the land, with the owners, with the society, with the nation. Here, it's exactly the opposite. Probably 90% of the people who are working are not from this region. Therefore, they have this different, very logical, very rational way of thinking of, you know what, I'm here only for 5 years. I need to make sure that I cash out as much as possible and then I leave. So therefore, the company comes next or even doesn't exist.
Absolutely right. Is what happened. But you still having some groups in the region with lots of interference from family, with presence of families. As you have in Asia. I know groups in Asia, strong groups, where you go, the CEOs of different business units are all from the family, and even other C-levels, all families, the different levels, the different ramifications and so on, but family. And successful, by the way.
Yes.
And very, very successful. But I think that there is a need of the right balance between the interference of the family and the interference of professionals.
The market.
I think they are both important, but they need to be aligned. The question is when they are not aligned.
When they are not aligned.
And you, I'm sure you know cases in the region about that, what's happened.
Yeah.
And then the company struggles. There is no investment. There is no progress. You are just work on short run. It's like you are in a boat seeing the coast. You cannot go further.
Exactly. You're always firefighting, and sometimes even the government interferes because that struggle within the family business can affect the economy of the nation itself. Absolutely.
And
that's not
Thanks
acceptable.
God they do it. Thanks God they do it.
Thank God they do it, exactly. Because I'll tell you what, that's one of the many positives about this part of the world, is that there's a keen interest in the nation and the economy, even if it's at the expense of individuals and certain organizations.
I think that is fantastic. It's quite unique and it's fantastic. Is to guarantee the future of these corporations. And I think government, when they do like that, some people doesn't like it. I love it.
It has to be, because at the end of the day, you can't sink a boat that has others in it, even if it's your own boat.
Absolutely,
it's not your choice. I mean, yes, it's your own boat. Yes, you have built it, but guess what? There are other people on the boat. The fact that you own the boat does not give you the right to kill all those people, metaphorically speaking, of course, and then sink your own boat. So this is where, when the governments interfere, it's the wisest thing and the best thing. And as you said, it's unique to this part of the world. So this is where you mentioned aligned between the owners and the owners of the business, let's say family businesses or corporates and others. And then the operators of the business, say the CEOs or the managers and others. And in my mind, the moment you mentioned that, the divide between leadership and culture of the organization kind of popped up. And that's my field of interest. So what do you think about that divide here?
Look, leadership, I think leadership is very important, as it is culture. The question is that sometimes the way leadership sees culture and the way the team, the company sees culture are different. There are some disconnects. That means sometimes, people believe that culture is just cascading nice SOPs and the nice workshops, top down, and that's it. People will embed that in their day by day. It's not like that. For me, clearly, leadership should be the first example of a starting positive culture. That means they should be respected. They should be seen as the examples of a positive culture. And they need to understand that culture is built many times, almost every time, bottom up. And is not built with nice workshops and sessions. It's built on the day by day when you do business. Culture, for me, is embedded in the way you do business, is embedded in the way you manage your team, is embedded in the way that you take care of your different stakeholders, internal or external. That is where you disseminate what you believe are the key principles that you want to apply in your company, in the culture of your company, and needs to be accepted and adopted by your team. Because you want, if you want example, just a foolish one, you want everyone to dress blue, and if the team believes that they should be white, there is a big disconnect. And this metaphor happens.
Yes.
You know, sometimes we want people to do this and to do that, and we don't do this and you control that. The way even how you define your policies in the company can drive, you know, for a positive or negative culture, because it will impact people and how the people will see you. And again, when the things are not aligned and there is this disconnect, is where you struggle to implement what is the best for the company.
What stops leaders from actually aligning the culture with what the people want, in your opinion?
You said ego in the past. You said something like that, I recall.
I like that. You're pinning it on me. I'll take it. It is. I mean, I'll tell you what, being from this part of the world, I'll tell you what. So this is my 2 cents, right? So being part of this world and you know, being someone who is obviously born and raised here, but also part of this region, I know for a fact that ego plays a big role, obviously naturally as a human being, but here there's a slight wrong priority. Ego is not a bad thing. I mean,
no, it's not.
People think when they hear ego, they immediately think of a stereotype of someone who's authoritative. It's not that. No. Ego is something that is real, that you have to protect. Obviously, you have to respect, and so on and so forth. It's just that it's a matter of priorities.
Correct.
When your ego is more important than the business.
When you are more important than the business.
When you're more important than the business, when your image is more important than the business, this is correct. This is where it creates that.
I fully agree.
So I take that. so yeah, of course, because you need to, as a, you know, I had you know, close friends who are really high authority who actually lost business because of ego. And in intimate discussions between me and them, they actually told me that they lost this business because of their ego. And they were remorseful. They were not happy about it.
Can you imagine?
But they know that they didn't have any option. And when I confronted them, what do you mean you don't have any options? Let's think of the alternative. What if this happened? How is this negative to your image? On the contrary, you'll have a better image because you will look like you're the bigger guy, you're the more mature guy, you're the more senior guy, you're the more wise guy, right?
But I think the challenge on many people is they don't listen, and they don't listen to the team. And when you have an organization, you have different views and you have your different departments, is expect that human capital, you know, your human resource team feeds you with the right sentiment of the people, right?
Yes.
Because they are there to help us to manage people. It's not to manage. They are not there to manage people, by the way. They are there to help us, business, to manage people. And sometimes this is a bit confusing for some people. And they need to be the ones that translates the sentiment of the team to all levels of the company, for them to understand, you know, the struggles, the motivations, etc. Many times that doesn't happen. Or
why is that?
Sometimes I don't believe the people in the human resources, with all my respects, because I have good friends in these positions, and I'm very capable.
I agree.
They simply don't understand which is their role.
Yes.
Because their role is much wider than processing salaries and hiring people and having coffees with people and stuff like that.
And processing leaves and warning letters.
Absolutely. That means if they are not the ones connecting all of this, then the leaders, many times, they don't really have the right picture about the company, about the people,
Of
about
course
the
they
team.
don't, because they naturally wouldn't be able to. It's impossible to know everything about every human being within the organizations.
Absolutely.
That's why you have an organization within the organization, which is the HR, human resources, to do that for you. But here's a thought, Vitor, and I need your thought. I need your opinion on this. Most HR departments, and this is my anecdote, and obviously I didn't do research on this, are not critical business units in this part of the world. They're either part of the back office, so they don't report directly to the CEO, they report to some sort of a level, and then they report to the CEO, or they're just not as important as, let's say, marketing or business or operations or others. Whereas in the let's say United States, I saw a video of Steve Jobs the other day, and someone asked him, what's the number one most important thing in your organization? And the synopsis of his response was HR, was people.
People.
And he said, when someone comes to me with a mistake, I don't go and fix it. I try to see how I can make sure that they learned from their mistakes. He said the knee-jerk reaction is to go and fix it, but then I stop myself and I want to make sure that they learned how to fix it. And
Absolutely.
he mentioned that this is the job of the HR department or the department that looks after the people, right? But he's the CEO, he's a founder, he's the one authority that empowers HR. Because if HR is not empowered, there's no
Correct.
use of anything they do.
Yeah, but they are the first ones, at certain levels, detecting the level of capability of the team. Because one of the struggles that many times we face is you have 2-3 people to do the job of one.
Yes. Yes.
And this happens everywhere.
Everywhere.
And then you have lots of friction and overlaps
Of
and
course.
Conflict.
Conflict.
Lots of
Because it's survival mode, right?
correct. And the objective of HR should be, in my opinion, to fix that. To have the right capability
100%.
or build it internally with the right programs and keep tracking this of scientifically this capability, or bringing the capability from outside. They are the two choices to them. Or you build or you hire, and you need to fix this kind of let's say complex dynamics in the team, and this happens in many companies, and sometimes people hires. I feel that people hires just for sake of closing a box in the organization instead of hiring for impact.
Hiring is difficult.
Hiring is difficult.
It's the most
but
difficult thing in the company.
Sometimes you hire for future.
Yeah.
For sometimes you hire to bridge. Okay? You hire for future, you need to bring the right capabilities. You hire for bridge, that means you know that for 1 year,
Succession
2 years.
planning, you mean?
No, in terms of you need that capability for a
Right.
period of time.
Right. Okay.
Okay,
Gotcha.
that you bridge.
Yeah.
And it's fair, it's okay. Any of them is fair. But I'm advocate of hiring always, with the best quality, etc. Example on startups, you have restrictions in terms of cash.
Of course.
That means you take a longer process on hiring, because you need to make sure within the options you have in the market, you hire for your budget one of best options.
You cannot afford, exactly. Yeah.
Because you cannot afford to go for sometimes
Too senior.
Or
a mistake, which will waste your time and money.
Absolutely. That means is this that that there is a very well a big disconnect between corporations and startups.
Yeah.
But startups, they don't have time and they don't have cash. That means they need to invest in the right people within the budget that is.
And this is part of the help that all of the advisors and the platforms and the mentors and the investors should give to the startups, because otherwise, how would they know? I mean, they're busy working on their code for 18 hours a day.
Absolutely.
They don't have time to look for people, let alone interview or even spot the good person from the bad person, right?
Absolutely.
And I mean, if we go back to corporates and leadership and culture, so this is my view. If a culture in the organization is not as conducive, as aligned to the strategy, if people in the organization are not feeling that they are being seen and heard in the way that you just mentioned, in my view, it's 100% on the leader. And when I say the leader, I mean the person or the persons. It depends on the organizations for two reasons. First, it's their job as a leader.
Yeah.
That's it. Their job is not to project manage. Their job is not to go to market. Their job is not to manage finances. Their job is just the people, because this is why they have the C level, right? They have the CFO, they have the CMO, so it's the leader. So if they're failing in that, then everything else doesn't matter. So, and leadership and culture are two faces of the same coin. But here's the problem. Because they have authority, because they have power, because they have all of this kind of ability to control the narrative, they will refuse to investigate culture because it's a matter of them. And therefore, it's like you're gaining weight, but you don't want to step on the scale.
Correct. Very true.
You know?
Absolutely.
And then it becomes a spiral going down. And the more egocentric you are, the more you have this sort of bad dynamic. But still companies are advancing because, especially in this part of the world, because the results are good, because in this part of the world, there are other things that control people. The golden handcuffs, which is the visas, the loss of lifestyle, etc., which gives wrong signals. If you're not looking at in the right place, you will never see. It's outside of your field of peripheral vision, right? So if a leader now listening now, what do they have to do? Because they can't see it. I mean, they look at the Excel sheet, they look at the graphs, they look at all these pie charts, and everything is just double-digit growth.
They need to listen people. By the way, if their -1 is not able to give them the right feedback, they have the wrong -1. If there is not an open relationship between the leader and the line below them, and they don't have the openness to give them the right feedback, they have the wrong people. This is the first feedback. I'm someone that appreciates feedback, and I'd like, that all organizations will empower feedback. Honest feedback, two ways feedback. Because feedback is not just from leader to the team, it's also from the team.
Yeah.
And no one should be afraid of giving honest feedback.
Psychological safety, right?
And many people is afraid of.
Of course. Because of the things that you mentioned.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I never was. I always give feedback. I always find the right words.
Of course. But you have to be respectful, professional.
Exactly. Yeah. But my feedback was always there. People likes, dislikes is what it is. It's life. It's company. It's not about me or the leader. It's about the company. How can we do better all together in favor of the company? This is how I work. This is how I keep working, and my view about this. Because sometimes the leaders believe that when they go below the -1, they will get the right feedback.
Yes.
They don't. Rarely they do. Rarely there is someone bold enough, brave enough to tell what they believe. And even in town halls, and the people make up what they say.
Yeah.
If they can hide behind the scenes in a video town hall or something like that, in an anonymous way,
anonymous, yes,
they will speak, but they won't speak face to face. At least they won't say exactly what they are meant to say. And this is this means a lot about culture, by the way. The fear culture that exists in many organizations. And then is the capability as well. When you are not safe, you don't feel safe and secure about your own capabilities, you don't challenge the leader.
Yeah.
Because you know that you are the next one getting, that will be out of the company. But if you are absolutely sure about your capabilities, about your impact, you don't care about that.
Yes.
He can kick you out. That's fine. You'll find another job.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
That means.
Oh, wow.
I believe in the server concept.
Okay.
Someone that is there to serve the company.
As a leader.
As a leader. I believe in the server concept across organizations. When someone is there to serve a team and to serve a company, things will go well. When this doesn't happen, can go either way.
What does that mean? Because sometimes people feel that they're serving, but it's just performative.
Serving is the real serving.
What does that mean?
Is not just delivering what is meant to be by the JD,
yes,
but is also making sure are helping the team to grow, are helping mentoring the team. I have been in when I was in corporate world, I had at the same time many times within the organization more than 10 people mentoring. I was a mentees. I was mentoring 8-10 people continuously because that is part of my obligation
at your level,
at my level. Okay, helping people to do better, helping the people to behave better, giving sometimes the right advice in terms of also culture, etc., etc. I believe this is part of our serving obligations. Is not just about a 9 to 6, getting a nice job, getting good results, getting a salary and go. No, is more than that. Is helping to build the future of the company, bringing up the new generations, helping them to build capability, advising the seniors properly, guiding them, helping the people to see the business as we see,
as a
whole business, not
my part, my silo.
Exactly. It's about that. That means when you serve, it's about the company and the others. It's not about you.
Yeah. But how do you know that you're giving the right advice? Because you
don't know.
Exactly.
But you have the intent. If you are honest and you are a professional, you have the best intent to give the right advice. I met leaders that sometimes advise within their agenda.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. Or even they're good intentioned, but they're just. I mean, there's a book called The Advice Monster, which is people tend, especially good intentioned, well experienced people, tend to really give advice, but it's very difficult for them to know whether the advice is effective or not.
Correct.
So how do you, I mean, if it's an individual, that's fine, but if it's scale it at an organization, it loses the effect of growing the business and making it better. So shouldn't there be a mechanism to know if the mentorship or if this advice is effective or not?
Look, I think the feedback of the other people, the mentees, and the impact of that, speak by themselves. If you see that your advice has an impact in people behavior or in people action or in people results, I think is helps partially at least to prove the concept. If you don't see also the feedback again, because these people also gives feedback.
So you ask about feedback.
I look. Always I have someone in my teams that I had like a trusted partner, and we were more or less monthly giving feedback to each other in a very transparent and honest way. I always did that, but to be honest, I got some partners that they didn't, and they know what I'm talking about because we had these conversations. People that. All is rosy, all is beautiful, and so on and so forth. And then bullshit.
This is how you know. This is how you know.
Exactly. And then you go back and said, our sessions are for what? Entertainment?
Time waste? Ticking the box?
That is bad. That means you need to have the right feedback with the right partner. That means, and you need to rotate. You need to find this feedback from different people. I'm a guy that takes easy feedback, and each time I was given feedback, I was writing down the feedback.
You write it down?
Yeah, I write it down. And I was reflecting about that. And then I was preparing an action plan for that. So people says that I should be different on this, or I should be different on that.
Do you remember the funniest feedback that you got?
Look, and there is nothing specific, to be honest, but I got feedbacks about being too too aggressive in terms of business space, stuff like that, to sometimes being aggressive of speaking with people. They misunderstand sometimes the intention, that is to make a point, because when you become aggressive, usually, at least at my point, is when you try to change what you want to change, and in a nice way, and this don't happen. When this doesn't happen, you need to make your point.
You have to put your foot down as a
Correct.
leader.
And they say, doesn't matter
what you think.
What exactly, you need to say what you need to say.
Right.
And sometimes people doesn't take it easy. People doesn't like it. They see it as a blame. I don't blame people, by the way. As principal, I don't blame people, but I give feedback. I speak louder, but doesn't mean I'm aggressive with people. It's my way of speaking. And if people knows me, they understand that.
But the ones that don't know you,
they
misunderstand you. And that's the feedback that you got.
Correct.
How did you change?
When I interact with people, I try to,
now you're aware of it.
Of course. I try to control that. Even though
amazing.
In some conversations that I want to make my point, I went back to my behavior.
Right.
Because I believe that was the best way to make sure everyone understands what was needed.
But you did it while you were aware of it.
Of course.
Exactly.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. You use your power of communication accordingly with the needs of your business. I do it in our startups. I speak with people time to time, and I give them my 2 cents, my thoughts. It's not because I want to blame people. No, it's I want to help them to grow, to do better, to grow as people, professionals, and so on. And I don't charge. But sometimes you cannot be just a nice leader.
A lovey-dovey leader. You cannot. No, it doesn't work though. Of course not.
You need to be professional. You need to care on people. You need to respect people.
I think the key thing here is, from what I understood from what you said, Vitor, is intentionality.
Correct.
So you're intentional about it. You're not emotional. You're not impulsive in the way you talk. You are actually intentional.
Absolutely.
Now it's a decree. I'm putting my foot down. It's an executive order. Now it's, you know what, I need to take feedback from you. I need to incorporate your feedback.
Correct.
Now just do and listen. Now it's just how, like you said, the context is decided by you, and you're the leader. You're imposing that by intentionally.
Correct.
And the intention from you, you know yourself, is the business.
It's good.
It's not to push your own ego or agenda.
I don't recall any situation of having any, in terms of business, any bad intention against people. Is not part of my basic nature, is not part of me. I have, when we are in business, everyone is there to make their lives. Yes. And you need to respect that. People is working because
families, they have.
Of course, they need that money. That means I respect, deeply these people. I respect all people that serves companies. I respect everyone. Then we have targets together, we have objectives together, we have a team to manage and so on. And we need to make sure, there are ups and downs. Everyone has the ups and downs, course. And I respect that as well. But cannot have ups and downs 3 months a year.
Yes.
You understand? If you sleep too much, or if you are not focused, or if you have other priorities, or you got a second or third job, and so on and so forth, of course this will impact you. Of course this will be seen by everyone, even if you don't say it.
Yes, and if you, I'm part of also the school of thought of everyone's responsible for their own livelihood. Yes, there are others who can have an influence on you. But at the end of the day, you're a mature adult, take care of yourself. Yes, you're an employee in an organization, but then, like you said, if you're competent, if you're skilled, if you're talented, you will have the courage to speak up.
Absolutely.
And if the environment will repel you, meaning it will not accept your speaking up, that's good for you, because then you will go out and go to another organization that will actually respect you, and you will filter out those organizations that have bad cultures. But if you don't work on yourself, if you spend your weekends binge watching Netflix,
Exactly.
if you just every
You
time
don't
you
get
have,
that.
yeah, I mean, you don't get to complain. Come on, just be quiet.
But you know, there are some leaders that also I witness sometimes. They ask feedback. They look like they appreciate feedback, but when they don't like the feedback, they come over. You know, there is
They hold it
there are
against-
impacts. You know,
There's grudge. There's I know that.
and then this democracy that supposedly is in the company is
shatter.
is a fear of
Yes.
you know whatever. That's why people shuts down when they see this fear spreading across the organization. You know,
And the fear, whether it's shown or not, it's always there.
absolutely.
You can, I mean, the fact that people smile and laugh and like, it doesn't mean that that things are rosy. It's completely different. And this is the divide that people sometimes don't see at the highest levels, like you said. And if you're not aware of it, I mean, I asked once one friend of mine, he's also a senior person. I asked him, what's the solution to ego? He said, nothing. You don't have solution to ego.
No.
If there's a leader who is egocentric, who has his best interest at the most important thing other than their employees or organizations, that's a sickness in the heart that has it's a pathology. It's like nothing that you can do to it. Listen, I respect your time. I know that you told me that you cannot stay for more than 11:30. So I need to end with this, Vitor. If there's one question you would want me to ask, what would that be?
If today I'm happy with what I'm doing, and probably how my family sees me today, you know.
Are you happy with what you're doing now?
I'm
Honestly,
I'm very, very happy with what I'm doing today. I think is one of the best phases of my life. Difficult, new for me, but fantastic experience, fantastic learnings. I'm enjoying to the max.
that's amazing.
But my family is not that happy with me. This is the other side of the coin. That means I'm not dedicating, investing, spending enough time with the family, and mainly with my wife, even with my son, because we are in business together. But our conversations are all about business. You know, when we
But your business is your life. That's fine, isn't it?
But you know,
I mean, that's the beauty of it. If your business is your life with your family,
it is. But you know, it's good to have some private time.
right? Yes, I agree.
It's good to
disconnect.
disconnect a bit, and I haven't been able to do that for a long time. So I think my wife told me one of these weeks. She said that since October last year, I didn't disconnect it. She said, and I think she's right. That means you need to get this balance.
Yeah.
That I'm not there.
But you're going there. You think you'll reach there?
I think I'll reach there. Not now,
Not now.
because there are lots of.
Because this is a change in your let's say everything that you do from being in a corporate world into now. It's like you're having a newborn baby.
Absolutely.
You can't afford to sleep and just keep it you have to keep it next to you. The moment it says any noise, you have to wake up immediately.
You know that your thoughts, can impact your business.
Yes.
What you see, people you talk, everything you collect as information, all learnings that you get from the market, all data, all that, you reflect on that. Using that, you can impact your business. It's what I do. Many times ideas we have within the family and so on comes from interactions and conversations and data we see and stuff we learn. And we say, why we don't do like this? Why we don't test that? This is fantastic, but I would appreciate to have some time, to be very honest. But I know that will come one day, but not yet. And I'm very pleased of being on this journey. To be very honest, I believe as every startup we can be very successful or we can fail, but we are very focused on being successful.
Vitor, thank you very much for your time.
It was a great
Truly
pleasure.
appreciate
Thanks for
it.
having me. Pleasure. Thank you.